video, we will be doing the rear adjustable coilovers on this 5th-gen Camaro. My previous video, we lowered the front with adjustable coilovers, so check out my channel for that video. So let's begin. These are 7/8, and the car's off the ground. We put chocks in the front. Alright, first thing in business here, we're taking this 18mm bolt from the lower control arm to knuckle. Now the lower shock bolt, that's a 13/16. Now the strut mounts over here. The bolts, there's 4 of them on this plate over here. These are 15mm. Now the one in the back, you gotta use a ratcheting box end to get to that one. It's a very tight clearance back there to get this one. Crack that loose. You can barely fit your hand in there. Alright, now to get this Allen over here. It's almost in. I'm going to try to move the strut back a little bit by using a pry bar over here. And see if we could whack it in. Just like that. Alright, now that's not coming off, so I'm going to use a torch here. Okay, what I like to do right after I do that is use a little bit of coil right on the threads. Yeah, baby. Who's your clown daddy? And what does he do? I'm just gonna jack this up so the bolt can come out easier. Alright, now up here. Came right out. Now I could drop the jack, and this whole thing could come right out. Put this down. Push it down, control arm with your hand, and this should come right out. Just like that. So this is what we're putting in. It's the BC Racing coilover for 09 Camaro and up. And it's the BR type coilover that we're putting in there. So first thing you gotta do to get this ready is take this 18mm nut off the top over here. So I'm gonna use an impact. If you have an impact, you could use a Torx on here to hold it with an opening wrench on top. So I'm just gonna take that off. Just like that. Let it fall on the floor. Pull this. Make sure you know the order of this, because you're pretty much gonna put it back in the same way. One thing I should also mention, I put with wide out an eye over here because this goes on the inside of the car. When it goes in, it's going to go in like that. So, just so you know where you're at when you position this thing. Comes that off. Comes with the insulator over here. You'll be reusing all this stuff. And also that. First thing is this washer. It goes in like this. Then you got the insulator here, the rubber insulator, and the mount. And that goes right on top. Now over here, you have to index this, so you just turn it to seat that with the end of the coil right there, just like that. Next is this, put it on top, and then it's the nut. This is a nylon lock nut, so you could go ahead and tighten this down. This is a 5mm Allen in the middle that you can hold still, and that's a 17mm lock nut on top. So just go ahead and tighten this down all the way. And that's it. This one we're going to leave where it's at, so I'm just going to tighten it down with the brass drift. It's already tight. And now I'm going to loosen this. And now this I'm going to hand tighten. Make sure I'm not going to move any of this so it doesn't lose the indexing, the correct positioning up there. Alright, now the spring you can't move anymore. And this, that's as much as I can do this by hand. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up. Butt it up against that one, and I'm going to put a mark here so I know if this moves around to put it back where it was. I'm just going to put a little whiteout mark here and a whiteout mark here so I know where that is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this with the brass punch so I get enough room in between them to fit this. This is 4mm and it should be less than 5mm this distance over here. So this is perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this with the brass punch. Now this is why I put the white mark there. So I'm just going to keep on continuing to hit that. And that's perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten it so into position. That's it. And we're good. Now this kit also comes with an adjusting knob, and this goes on top over here, and then this goes on top of here. And this you have to make a hole in the rear, in the trunk, for this to go through. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put this on this. Now there's an Allen key here, and they supply you this with the kit. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Now what this does is you put this in here, and this locks it in place. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of red thread locker on this, so this doesn't loosen up over time. Just put a drop. And we're good. Now this goes in here like that, and this threads over here. Alright, so this is what we did on the other side. We cut a little square box here. You could go ahead and adjust this over here. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to start at the 6-inch mark from the carpet over there. We're going to make a 2-inch by 2-inch box. So, see where the seam is here? That's going to be the middle of the 2 inches. That line is the 6-inch mark. There and there. So we're looking at up to here. Up to here. That's our box. The edge of the box is 6 inches away from the carpet. The other edge is 4 inches away. And you have 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on this side of where the seam is. I'm just go ahead and cut that. Alright, so that's a little square box that we cut. Now as you can see on this side, if you don't cut that little square box, that this will be protruding and hitting this, which it doesn't mention in the instructions. So it's necessary for you to cut that, either square box or you could use a hole saw. So this is where the inside is, where I marked it before, so I know that has to be towards the inside the car. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop this bad boy in. It needs a little finagling to get in there, but it'll get in there, and it's almost in. Gotta push the control arm down over here to give you some room. I'm going to use Thread Locker Blue on these bolts here. Make sure when you're putting this assembly in, that the adjuster goes in the hole first, or have somebody on top guide it through the hole as you're putting it in. So now I'm just going to catch these bolts. Always catch these back ones in first, especially this one here that's close to the upper control arm here. And the last one. Alright, now that they're all caught by hand, I'm just going to tighten these down. And you're good. And you're good. And you're good. And you're good. Alright, I'm going to stick my locating pin back here, and as you can see I can move the shock back and forth. So just move it forward and jack it up, and magically the holes line up. Now put the bolt in. Okay, now the torque specs for this rear shock lower mounting bolt is 59 foot-pounds first, then 120 degrees on the angle. Let's go ahead with 59 first. So that's good. Alright, now how to use this gauge, the torque angle gauge. It comes with this, so you put that in the hole over here, and you crank her down. And this will keep the thing steady, so when you actually turn this, and it'll give you the angle reading here. So always zero that out, and torque this down. So this should be at 120 degrees. I'm just going to pop that in there, and snug this up against over here. And now I'm just going to go ahead and turn this with the ratchet. Now, like I said, this should go to 120. So I'm going to just hold this to make sure it's steady. I moved a little bit. Okay.
Good. A little more. Good.
And that's 120. Alright, so I'm just going to move this around. I put a little pry bar underneath there. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, the first torque setting is 30. And now I'm in the back over here holding the nut with my open end wrench. So it's good. Okay, now we're gonna go to 120 on this. It's actually 120. We're good. Now let's put the end link in. Just got to move this sway bar up a little bit. I'm just going to jack it up slightly with the jack. Alright, so I just put 2 pieces of wood over here with the jack. It just needs a little bit, and that should be good right there. Just pop that in. And that's all we needed. And we're good. One thing to do, make sure you get alignment once you put the adjustable coilovers in here. Because if you don't, your tire's going to look like this. Because the camber's going to be off. Let's put the tire back on. And that's how you install adjustable coilovers in the rear on a 5th gen Camaro. So thanks for watching, subscribe, and like me. Hasta la vista!